Hello, we want to welcome today to our office here at You've Got Made, Jordan Costen Sampter. He is the founder and the executive director of Safe Space Nova. Jordan, welcome to You've Got Made. And before we go to my first question, I'm really excited to hear the history of how did you come up by this? I love the word safe space.
Well, thank you, first of all, for you and your team for having me here. Safe Space Nova has been around for 7 years, and the reason it exists is because I found that there was no space in Northern Virginia that was concentrated in providing positive programming for LGBTQ youth across this area. So in Loudoun County, in Fairfax, in Prince William, the city of Alexandria, Arlington, I really found that was something that didn't exist, and I wanted to create and cultivate that type of space in this area.
Wow, that's what come up that word. That's nice. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
A little bit about your history, where you're coming from, and what made you decide to, to start Safe Space Nova?
Sure. So I came to the Washington, D.C. area in 2003, fall 2003, to attend Howard University. I studied TV production, and in my third year in school, there was a little poster on a board on our college campus that asked if you wanted to volunteer your time to tutor or mentor. And I was always raised with this sentiment of with whom much is given, much is expected. So I gladly and eagerly volunteered to mentor at a high school that was down the street about 2 or 3 blocks. It was called Maya Angelou Charter High School. And I was charged with what was an LGBTQ student, openly gay male. That was just by happenstance, and he and I bonded outside of just helping with homework, but just in terms of being 2 members of the community and what that struggle would sometimes look like. I really enjoyed that work and doing that with him, so I continued to do that. There's another organization, Horton's Kids, where I volunteered in Washington, D.C. I then moved with my then boyfriend, now husband, across the Potomac to Alexandria and said, okay, I took a break from mentoring and tutoring, went to grad school, and on the other side of that I said, okay, before I just dive back into this volunteer work, what's something that's really going to resonate with me? And I thought back to my childhood and what it was like at 14 to not feel like I had anybody to talk to about the sexual identity that I felt was burgeoning within me.
Wow.
Not having a community member, not feeling like I had parents, not feeling like I had peers I could talk to because it was something that was considered sinful and blasphemy. So I said, you know what, let's maybe volunteer our time in a space like that here in Northern Virginia. And upon doing my research, I found there was no organization that was directly and solely looking at our LGBTQ youth. So that spawned Safe Space Nova. I always tell people I consider myself to be an overly ambitious person. Up to that point,
I can tell.
up to that point, I was somebody who worked in IT. And I loved that line of work, but I said, you know what, this is a need, and so I incorporated with Safe Space Nova, found out what it was like, took classes at a Nova Community College at night while I was building the organization, just so I had an understand appreciation for doing the work of a nonprofit, and it just kind of led from there, and that was March 29, 2016 is when we incorporated, and here we are, 7 years strong.
Wow, 7 years. So where are you located? Where are you based?
So we've been based in Alexandria. We relocated to Fairfax, but our base isn't as important as where the community is and us making sure that we can meet everybody across Northern Virginia. So we were once in Alexandria, recently we're relocated in terms of a physical space to Fairfax. What's important for us is that we do events all around Northern Virginia. So people know that we're here across all of Nova.
Yeah, definite. So tell us about kind of like different program you have.
Okay, absolutely. So we started Safe Space Nova with one program, which is our social activities. And that's everything from miniature monster golf to top golf to laser tag. And we did that, and we rent out the space, we provide the food, and we also have vetted background check volunteers who supervise our youth. So we have that. Our biggest activity to date is the LGBTQ prom. We are in our 2nd year that averages anywhere between 150 and 180 students. So that's our first program. We also have a social support group that we started during COVID, a place where youth can come into the space. It's virtual right now. You come and you talk about whatever's on your mind. We leave just one individual as an adult who chaperones. And they're really just truly there in case the child needs if a child feels they need some additional support or if the wrong element gets in the room. So we have that social support group, and our last program is called You Plus Me, equals we, queer sex education. It's an inclusive sex education course. It talks for everything about anatomy, talking about contraception, what is a healthy and positive relationship. So those are our 3 key programs right now.
And what ages all these programs range from?
So our target is 14 to 18 years old. So for the high school students, we are considering, just depending on how much of the population we can see, we would love to go younger. We just haven't had as much interest, but should there be more interest, we would be more than happy to support our youth who are also in middle school as well.
Yeah. So I want to go back about the first thing you shared about, this is always is interesting. I see people, you know, especially in the nonprofit world, that there is a reason from childhood where it get them where they are right now, or how they've found and they opened nonprofit organization. Do you think that was something, you think that what made you decide to have this because of your childhood? You felt like you didn't feel to talk to anybody, or to, you know, or somewhere you need to go and feel comfortable to talk or say what you feel, or whatever is your belief is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. A lot of us have these experiences that really formulate who we are, who we become, what we do later in life. And the best way I can describe who I am and what I do is, I am the person that I wish I had when I was 14 years old. So in being a support, I've gone and grown from just being this person who's wanted to start a nonprofit and create space for LGBTQ to taking that one step further and loving this work so much that I decided to go back to school once again, love education, maybe sometimes a bit too much. I decided to invest in myself and become a social worker, and now I'm also a therapist. So not only do I provide this space in terms of programming via Safe Space Nova, but now I also provide therapy to members of the LGBTQ community as well. So helping is very big for me and my community at this point in my life.
That's awesome, and thank you for doing that. Can you tell us something you has accomplished this year, and what is something also you have a goal for next year?
Absolutely. So this year, this is only the 2nd year of our LGBTQ prom. So just getting that off the ground this 2nd year. We're only a few years, as we all know, outside of, well, we can't even say outside of COVID, but since the onset of COVID, it's really had affected how we have our programming. So the fact that we can be successful, pull off this event, and still see a number of youth come out in this space and being their authentic selves is encouraging for us. So having that happen this year, having this donation so that we can put on that program and put on that activity was tremendous for us. And in terms of goals, we're always looking to increase our resources so we can increase our programming.
Yeah.
So yes, we have social activities. Yes, we have the U Plus Me program. Yes, we have U Plus Me support groups and the social activities. But what we're trying to go from there is we want to do mentoring and we want to do tutoring.
Nice.
I mean, we want to extend our programming, but again, we're limited by the amount of resources we have. So if the more attention we get, the more resources we have, the more we want to extend our programming so we can help our youth in all the different ways possible and available.
Yeah, that's nice. And I can see the passion on you on that. Events. Let's talk some events. So you did talk about the prom. I mean, is that your biggest event usually of the year, or you do also like other sort of small events during the year?
The prom is the biggest event in terms of the concentration of youth. I mean, for those who don't know, dealing with teenagers, I love what we're doing for them.
You said 14 to 18. That's a difficult age.
Sometimes it is, but the draw for our program, and especially the prom, is you come as your true authentic self. However you want to dress, however you feel in that moment, we go with that. We accept you wholeheartedly. So yes, to your point, that is our biggest event of the year. Our social support groups, we have those twice a month, meeting virtually. And then for our social activities, those are ad hoc. So as we come up with ideas, or our student leaders who also work with us come up with ideas, we put the feelers out. If it makes sense, then we go ahead and start planning for what is a social activity.
Wow. When is the event happening this year? The prom? When?
So the prom happens it happened in June this year. We generally do it around Pride Month, so it'll happen again next year as well.
Around that
around June. So that's our biggest event, and that's when it'll be every single year. So yes.
Okay. And what is your most need? How can we help?
We love donations. Donations and volunteers are truly the backbone of what we do at Safe Space Nova and how we're able to do what we do. So having those resources enables us to extend our programming. So having more resources, having more donations, we let everybody know we have this information available on our website to donate. www.safespacenova.com/donate. There's a button there that you can go that way, and we're working on incorporating recurring donations as well. My staff, we are very keen on making sure the money that we get goes back into the organization. Up until 2022, my entire staff, myself included, we are all considered volunteer. We did not take home a paycheck because we wanted to make sure the money that we were getting was going back into the programming. And how we defrayed the cost going from 2022 into 2023 is now we get stipend, myself included. Again, this work is too important, and we're not going to make sure that we're getting paid, and that's more important than making sure this programming takes place within the community.
And you did say about Nova, there is anybody can be part of this if you
Absolutely.
live in Loudoun County or Prince William County or
Absolutely.
or anywhere. Are you planning maybe in the future there is idea to expand to another place? I know you are in Fairfax right now, but
So-
maybe here in Loudoun County or.
So in terms of a physical permanent footprint, that's what we would really love as a drop-in center. That's our ultimate goal. It's a bigger one that's going to take us some years. We're planning for probably a little bit longer, probably 3 to 5 years from today. We put money to the side as best we can. But having that drop-in space really service the area. We want to have even a emergency housing for those who would get rejected, have no place to go. So where
That's
that will be,
important.
we can just say it's a no for now. We don't know exactly what physical jurisdiction will be in, but we'd be happy wherever that space is and have it continue to service the LGBTQ across, again, all of Northern Virginia.
And what about volunteers? Like where also there is somewhere on the website that they can go if somebody is from the audience today that would like to be part of your organization.
Absolutely. Please visit our website. There's going to be more information about the programs, pictures from that, and then there's also links to forms about volunteering, or you can just email us directly, info@safespacenova.org. The email address is pretty simple.
I love that name, Safe Space Nova.
Yes.
Jordan, thank you very much for your time today, and we appreciate all this information. And I hope anyone who is feeling they want to talk to somebody or share their feeling or anything like that will call you or they will reach out to you, because I know your door will be open for anyone who you will be good listeners, everybody over there. I'm sure. Yeah. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you for having me.